Okay, hi everyone. Today we have Katarina Scamborova from Swiss Re. Welcome, Katarina.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about this because you have a very interesting background and experience in the insurance space. So why don't we start with your background?
Sure. So I'm head of standard propositions in North America at Swiss Re Corporate Solutions. My role is to build out new propositions, new offerings, partnerships in the commercial insurance space for standard business. I'm seasoned insurance and reinsurance executive with broad experience, starting with underwriting through transformations, innovation, digitization. Throughout my career, I have seen many opportunities for improvement in the insurance space.
And my first question is going to be about the technology. What is next in this innovation and transformation that we are going through? We have been going through for several years now. When you say machine learning, rapid automation, AI, everybody heard it. Not everybody understands it.
Yeah.
But that's okay. So, some people keep asking me, like, what is next, though? What would you say?
I mean, to your point, compared to some other industries, I still feel like commercial insurance does have room to improve. And we will continue to see insurance companies to invest in technology, obviously, to increase efficiency as well as improve experience for its clients, but also for its employees. We will continue to see automation, AI, robotics, just like you mentioned, especially robotics in places where the systems cannot be integrated. We will continue to see data as well as data ingestion and self-servicing. So just kind of going back to the 3 points. One is I mentioned technology and helping kind of introducing or helping the speed. At Elevate, it's a key. The technology is actually a key element to drive speed as well as value. We want our underwriting team to be thinking rather than putting information into the systems. We want them to be really interacting with brokers. That's kind of where they bring in the most value. So we want to free their time up from the manual and repetitive work. So I think that still the automation, the AI and the robotics will be very, very key. And just to give you an example, right now in middle market space, it still takes 2 to 4 weeks to quote an account, to quote a business, 2 to 4 weeks. Right. That's a long time. So at Elevate, actually, we are trying to reduce it down to a couple of days. And you have to have certain level of automation, right? Certain level of AI or whatever it is in order to get to that number. The second piece I mentioned is data, using data. So obviously there are 2 aspects to it, at least. One is the internal data and the other one is external data. People and companies and industry needs to be better at capturing how we capture internal data in order to be used in the future. And also there's still room to figure out how we use external data and what do we do with it. And actually, so at Elevate, we are using external data in order to augment submission information, and we don't have to ask as many questions to our brokers as other carriers. I mean, you can also use data in order to build out various predictive models, etc. Right? And the third piece, what I mentioned, was coping actually with the data that comes your way as a carrier. So how do we ingest all of the, for example, submission data? And you can do it in 3 different ways. Connect to brokers via APIs, using some kind of broker portal or some kind of aggregators. And the third piece is ingesting information using AI. And I think all of these 3 things will still continue and will be here. At Elevate, we actually decided to use the third route, and especially initially, and we said, brokers, please send us business and we'll figure it out. But we want to make sure that experience with us is easy and simple. So send us your submissions, and we have tools to figure out how to digest the information that you send us.
What you're describing here has an immediate impact on the customer experience, right? I think we can talk more about customer experience on the personal space, because you can use more high-low kind of or no-touch processes are more common comparing to commercial business. But there are a lot of areas for improvement in the commercial space, right? When it comes to customer experience. So how do you see that part of the business going?
So I can speak from kind of where I'm sitting. So actually at Corporate Solutions, we are very much focused on customer experience, and even how we developed Elevate, we were first listening to pain points of our customers, our brokers, and having that in mind, we tried to figure out kind of the best solution and the best differentiated offering to our customers. And we're trying to really bring insurance closer to customer in a much more user-friendly way. So I think that, just simplicity, new roles will be created. Sustainability is obviously a big piece, and partnerships will continue to be a trend.
So you mentioned new roles. You kind of pushed me to my next question, which is the future of insurance professionals. Generally speaking, not only underwriting, not only claims, but generally speaking, because you're talking about data, you're talking about robotics and automated processes. You're talking about changing in roles, and customers' expectations are absolutely changing, right? So in this new world, let's say, in a transformed world, within the 5 to 10 years, what would you recommend to the insurance professionals to get their skill sets in?
So there are a couple of things that are still critical even today, which is, problem-solving skills, critical thinking, the way you structure your thoughts and communicate, right? Those are kind of things that will continue to be there and will continue to be pretty important even in the future, no matter how many years forward, I think. Right. I do feel like there are a couple of trends that are popping up or potentially been here, but for example, coding is one of them. Coding of data and coding in general. So I have a first grader, and he's already learning how to code at school. So okay. I think that's one of the skills. The second one, this kind of brings me to the data. Data is so important, and if you think about it, only in the last couple of years, majority of data was kind of collected and is here, and we're trying to analyze it. And this trend will just continue, right? The amount of data that we're collecting from all those devices, iPhones, etc., right. Will just continue, right? So how we cope with data, how we capture data, how we analyze data, how we use data will be very, very critical. So even if it's an underwriting assistant, somebody from operations, people need to understand how to use data efficiently. And lastly, I feel like things are changing, and things are changing so quickly, and change is really the only constant. So being flexible and being adaptable will be absolutely critical for any role again. No,
thanks for not saying learn AI. Thank you for that. No, and I'm serious. I mean it, because you mentioned basically a combination of soft skills, such as critical thinking and so on, what you just described. Also, understanding of data and probably the data flows and being able to understand and maybe design data flows and workflows and all that. So it's not only pure risk assessment. It's really a combination of things that we need to have. To be able to, be prepared, if you will, for the future of insurance. Katarinas, thank you so much for your time, and hope to have you once again in the show.
Thank you for having me.